All right, in our last video, we figured out how to find arc length when you're measuring in degrees. There is another way to measure um, with circles that is using a unit called radians. You guys have not seen radians before. We've talked about it with your calculators. We had to make sure is your calculator in degree mode or radian mode. So now we're getting a little introduction to what that radian measure is. So here's defined for us. A radian is equal to the measure of a central angle that intercepts an arc with equal length to the radius of the circle. I do think that gets a little confusing, so I'm going to insert a video of someone that I think explains radians very well. I have no idea if YouTube is going to let me upload this, so fingers crossed. But just watch this video, it's about 20 seconds long, and you'll get the idea of what a radian measure is.
A radian is a unit of arc measure, or spin. If we wrap a radius of a circle around it and do this repeatedly, you'll find that there's a little more than 6 radii that can make a full circle. The approximate value is 6 and 28 hundredths. The exact value is 2 pi. So 2 pi radians is the same as 360 degrees.
Okay, so there you go. We can go ahead and fill in 2 pi radians is equivalent to 360 degrees. One thing to note, if 2 pi's are equal to 360 degrees, that means that pi radians is equal to 180 degrees. I just cut both of those in half, just in case that comes up. All right, so let's take a look at how to find arc length when you're measuring in radians versus degrees. So we're still gonna follow our same formula. We've got arc length, which is a fraction of the circumference, will be equal to the arc measure, but instead of in degrees, now we're in radians. And before we were dividing by 360, now we're gonna divide by 2 pi, because if you're in radian measure, we're just changing the unit of measure. One full circle is equal to 2 pi. So to solve, and then we replace arc length, we use an S to represent that. Circumference of a circle is 2 pi r. Arc measure in radians, we're going to use this guy right here. Here's how you spell it, theta, theta. That's a Greek symbol often used to represent measures of angles. So our arc measure is theta. Now remember, the arc measure is is equal in measure to your central angle. So here, the central angle is theta, which means the arc measure will be theta. Okay, we're going to divide that by 2 pi. Now to solve for s, we just multiply both sides by the 2 pi r. It will cancel over here, and you can see we're multiplying by 2 pi r. So how does that equal just theta times the radius? Well, if we look at this math right here, we have theta divided by 2 pi multiplied by 2 pi r. I'm going to go ahead and put that over 1 because we know that that's over 1. And what happens is this 2 pi cancels with this 2 pi, leaving you with theta times your radius all over 1, or theta times the radius. So our arc length in radians is as simple as finding theta times your radius. So that's what we're going to fill in here. Arc length in radians is S equals theta times r. Let's go ahead and define those. S stands for arc length. Theta stands for the arc measure. Remember that we'll have the same measure as your central angle. And then we're going to put, we are talking radians in this case. And then r is still your radius. Okay, so let's give that a try. In a circle with radius 6, what is the length of an arc that has a measure of pi radians? So right here, I know we're working in radians versus degrees. Round to the nearest tenth. All right, so let's go ahead and draw that in. We have a circle. It has, let's say, radius of 6. Now they're telling us that the arc measure is pi radians. So remember, 2 pi is one full circle. Pi is just half of that. So it's just like your 180 degrees or a semicircle. So I'm just going to draw a straight line to the other side. From here to here, that arc measure is pi. The central angle would have a measure of pi. And then we can go ahead and use our formula. Arc length, so what is the distance from here to here? Remember, it's a fraction of the circumference. We can find that value by taking your theta, your arc measure, times your radius. So theta is pi times our radius is 6. So if we were to leave this answer in radian or in terms of pi, we would say 6 pi. We also could just go ahead and say, which is about equal to 18.8. So whatever this 6 is measured, if this is 6 inches, this is 18.8 inches. So let's say you draw a circle that has a radius of 6 inches. If you were to measure going around, you would need like a bendy tape measure all the way to here. That distance would be 18.8 inches.